Welcome to the last part of the weekend challenge 38. So in this we'll be basically building secure zone access controller using RFID. So we have RFID card, so only if the card clears then you can enter the whatever the secure zone is there. So we have 7 files with 3 entities. One is employee, one is RFID card, one more is secure zone, followed by three repositories, and then one service and one controller. So let us start with RFID card. So here we have the RFID ID, then the card number and the issue date. So these are the three, followed by constructors. One is public constructor, one more is parameterized constructor with the parameters, card number and issue date. Then we have getters and setters for ID, card number and issue date respectively. Then after that we have secure zone. So in this we have the zone name, zone ID and then clearance level. So in this again we have one public constructor, that is secure zone, and then we have getters and setters for ID, zone name and then clearance level. Then we have the employee. So in this employee details, basically we know we have to, if an employee is related, then we have to make sure that his RFID is also deleted. So it's basically a one-to-one relationship. Then after that, we have to make sure that multiple employees can't have the same RFID. And yeah, so basically we're using inverse join. So basically for joining, we have to create a joining junction table for employee zones to manage the relationships. After that, we have to set to avoid duplicate entry zone for an employee. So we are using hash map here, hash set for avoiding duplicates. Then we have the we have to we have the helper method to assign zones. So basically, we are using this keyword to allowed zones and then add that zone for that particular employee. Then constructor followed by get ID, name, department name, RFID card, and then allowed zones. So basically, if an employee with ID1 is allowed to these three zones, then he can enter only these three zones. If it tries to enter the fourth zone, then it should get blocked. So that is what we are trying to do here. Then we have access services. So in this services, we have the first thing is basically constructor injection. We're linking it with the repository. Then we have the create employee. So in this, basically, we have to enter all the information of the employee. Then we have to save the employee. Then we have to create zone. So now employees and zone are created. Now we have to grant the zone access. So in this, basically, we have to first enter the employee ID, find by employee ID, and then we check if the employee ID is present. If it is present, then okay, then we move forward. Then we check of all the zones the employee can enter into. So then after that, we have to find the zone by ID, and then we check if the zone is empty. If the zone is empty, then we can't do anything. If the zone is not empty, then we grant the access of that zone to that particular employee. After that, we have the revoke employee. So we have to, one more basically delete the employee, delete by the ID using for the employee. So once we click on that, the employee access is revoked. That's basically his ID is deleted. Then we have access controller. So this is basically like a manager for the entire program. So here again, we have the, first is constructor injection followed by, first one is post mapping for employee. So basically we have for add employee, we are giving the input as employee. Then if it is okay, then if it is accepted, then we create the employee. Similarly for zone, again we check using okay, and then we have to give access to the employee for that particular zone. So again we use the same function. After that, we have to delete the employee and remove the RFID from the database too. So again for that, we have to again check the employee ID, and then once the employees we are okay with deleting, then we say employee with their ID, RFID card and zone mapping should have been successfully removed. Then if I run the program, I'll show the output. So yeah, so here these are the four things. First is employee name, department, RFID number. I'll give some random RFID 998877. I'll just copy RFID 998877. It's our employee. Okay, so yeah, the employee has been registered. Then create secure zone. That is, I click on room B. Clearance level is 4. Create zone. Zone has been created with ID 1. Then employee, ID of employee is 1, and then secure of zone ID. Okay, it automatically took 4 because the clearance level is 4. Then terminate access. Okay, so could not grant access if the employee ID is existing. ID of zone. What is zone ID is 1. Yeah, zone ID is 1. Okay, access granted. Now the employee can enter only zone 1. Then after that, I want to delete the employee, so I'll click on employee ID 1 and revoke and delete. So access is revoked and then deleted. Okay, yeah, so the ID RFID is removed securely. Let me submit the program now. The test cases have been passed, and that's it for this video. I'll see you next video. I'll see you next weekend. That's it for this weekend as well. So the test cases have been So yeah, the test case if passed successfully, and that's it for this one. That's it for this weekend as well. If you have any doubts, let me in the comments below. And if you want to practice more such problems or get yourself ready for interviews, then you can go pro on CodeChef. You can practice all these problems on the CodeChef platform. So give this a try, and I'll see you next weekend. Thank you guys.